Hey guys, so for step up number 3 today, we're going to be looking at ratios and proportions. Ratios is kind of what we talked about the last couple of days, like comparing one number to another number. And now we're going to talk about proportions. Proportion is kind of comparing those two sets of numbers to another two sets of numbers. So if we have 30 to 40, let's say we have 30 circles out of 40 shapes overall. And we want to change that ratio to something that is proportionally the same thing. So now let's say we have the same 30 out of 40. Let's say we have the same 40 shapes with 30 circles, and we double that. We times both by 2, and then that would equal 60 out of 80. And that's really the same thing. It's almost like finding equivalent fractions in a sense. We learned about how we can find equivalent fractions. You can multiply a number or divide a number. As long as you do the same to the top and bottom, that's cool. And that's what we're doing today. So if we have 30 circles and we times that by 2, now we have 60 circles. If we have 40 shapes, we times it by 2, now we have 80 shapes. So those two equal the same thing. They're proportionally the same. You could also divide each by 10. As long as you do the same thing from the top and the bottom, you are good. So as long as we divide both by 10, now we have 3/4. So 3/4 equals 30 40ths equals 60 80ths. And that's what we're going to be doing today. You're going to have to be coming up with ratios that are the same to the given ratio. So we're going to head down to number 1, and we have 3/5. So within this, you have the ability to multiply 3/5 by any number you want. There's an infinite amount. But I'm just going to start off easier, so I'm just going to multiply it by 2. And that's going to come up with 6/10. So now that's the same amount proportionally. It's the same thing. Now I'm going to multiply it by 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 3 is 15. And now I'm going to multiply it by 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 5 times 4 is 20. And that's what it's asking for. It says write 3 ratios that are equal to the ratio given. So they gave us 3/5, and now we multiply it by 2, by 3, and then by 4. Now I'll probably just keep on doing 2, 3, and 4 unless I can divide, just because that's the easiest. Now 4/8, like I said, I can divide if I want. So I'm going to divide both of those by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now I'm going to divide them each by 4. 1/2, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. And now I'm going to multiply it by 10 because I can. 40/80. Again, you can multiply or divide however you see fit. You're going to notice when you're doing the next page that there's going to be a bunch of different answers that I have that maybe you don't have. Because within this, maybe you want to multiply each by 5 while I want to multiply by 3, and that's okay. Next one, 6/18. 6 goes into 18, so I'm going to divide both by 6. I got 1/3. Now I'm going to multiply both by 2. And I'll multiply this one by 2. 2 6, and then 60/180. Again, you can multiply or divide. It's like we're doing equivalent fractions. So for 4, 5, and 6, they write them with the way that we've been writing them with the colon. So we have 8/10, or 8 compared to 10. Let's say we have 8 circles and in 10 shapes overall. So again, I can divide both by 2, 4, 5. I can times them both by 2, 16, 20. Or I can times them both by 100, 800,000. As long as you come up with 3 different ones, that's all that matters. Now 6/8, I'm going to divide both by 2, 3, 4. You're going to notice I'm writing it the way that they wrote it. I have a colon there. This one I wrote as fractions. This one I'm writing as a colon. 60/80ths. And maybe 600/800ths. Again, maybe you did something different. Maybe you did 12/16ths. Cool. Next one, I'm going to divide each by 10, 5, 6. I'm going to multiply each by 2, 100/120ths. And then I'll just divide, I'll times this one by 2, 10/12ths. Again, once I have one that's equal to this, I can actually multiply this one by 2 instead of always looking at this one. Because we know that this is the same and this is the same, I can actually just multiply this by 2 now. 4 to 6. Now they wrote them as not colons, not as fractions, but 4 to 6. So like it's comparing 4 to 6. So I have 4 sandwiches to your 6 sandwiches. If we multiplied each of our sandwiches by 2, we would have 8 to 12. If we multiply each by 3, we'd have 3 to 18. Nope. 12 to 18. And if we divide, if we both ate half of our sandwiches, we'd have 2 to 3. 8 to 9. Again, I'm going to multiply each by, let's say 10, 8 to 90. I'm going to multiply each by 100, 800 to 900. And I'll multiply each by 2, 16 to 18. So again, very similar to equivalent fractions. And number 9, 5 to 25. 5 goes into 25, so I can divide both by 5. So 1 to 5. Can multiply both by 2, 10 to 50. Multiply both by 3, 15 to 75. So that's going to be a lot of writing within this. For questions 10, 11, and 12, it says write each in the simplest form. Remember, when we find simplest form, we're looking for a number that goes into both numbers and divide it. So for number 10, 10 over 15. So we have to think to ourselves, what number goes both into 10 and 15? Well, we can divide each by 5. And that's going to 10 divided by 5 is 2, 15 divided by 5 is 3. So our simplest form is 2/3. 11, 21 to 14. Again, think to yourself, what goes into both of those numbers? 7 does. 21 divided by 7 is 3. 14 divided by 7 is 2. So 3 to 2. And number 12, we have 30 to 60. So let's see. We can divide both by, well, 30 goes into them, divide both by 30. So this turns into 1, and that turns into 2, because 30 goes into 60. If you divide each by 10, you have 3, 6, and then you have to simplify one more time. Number 13, 14, and 15, we have to see if they're equal or not equal. So if they're equal, we put the equal sign, like so. If they're not equal, we have to put the not equal sign, like so. So 15 to 18. So if I want to see if they're equal, I have to kind of bring them down to the lowest common denominator. So 15 and 18. Let's see what goes into both 15 and 18. That'd be 3. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Cool. What goes into both 10 and 12? 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So yeah, they are equal. Now we have 20 to 24, and then proportionally 30 to 34. So let's think about it. 20 to 24, they're both even numbers, so we can, well, 4 goes into both of them, so we have 5 over 6, because 20 divided by 4 is 5, 24 divided by 4 is 6. And then 30 and 34, I think they're both even numbers, so we just have to go divide by 2, 15 to 17. And you can see 5 to 6 does not equal 15 to 17. And our last one for this one, 16 to 20 and 28 to 35. 16 to 20, we can bring this down, divide by 4. 4 to 5, because 20 divided by 4 is 5, 16 divided by 4 is 4. And 28 to 35, divide by, I guess 7 goes into both. 28 divided by 7 is 4. And 35 divided by 7 is 5. So those would be equal. Alan says that the ratios 3 to 5 and 2/10, or 2 to 10 are equal. Is he correct or not? So we're doing the same thing. We're looking at 3 to 5 and then 2 to 10. So 3 to 5 looks like that. Looks like you can't simplify that anymore. Nothing goes both into 3 and 5 besides 1. Now 2 to 10, you can simplify this, because you can divide both by 2. And that turns into 1 to 5. So are those equal? No, they're not equal, because 3 to 5 is different than 1 to 5 when you simplify. So that's what you have. It's a longer lesson. The next page is going to ask you for, so I'm going to ask you to do 3 at the top. If you want to just do 2, I think that's sufficient. And then try the rest of the page. I'll put a copy of my answers on there as well. But my answers are not going to be like the end all be all, because I might multiply by 3 while you multiply by 8. But Anyway, that's it. If you have questions, let me know.